This question is asking, arrange the following numbers in increasing order. 8, negative 10, absolute value of negative 9, negative absolute value of negative 12, negative 3, and negative 4 squared. So before we start this problem, let's translate some of these numbers first, starting with the ones with absolute values. The absolute value of a number is how far away this number is from 0. So no matter what, the absolute value is always going to be positive, whether it is a negative number or a positive number. So depending on how far away that number is from 0 is the absolute value. So for example, negative 9, the absolute value of negative 9 is 9 because it is 9 units away from 0. Now for this one, negative absolute value of negative 12, the absolute value of negative 12 is 12, but it has the negative sign on the outside of that. So it would look like so. So the absolute value of negative 12 is 12, but this negative stays on the outside, making this a negative 12. So next let's look at negative 3. Now, whenever we have a negative on the outside of a parentheses, there is an imaginary 1 here. So a negative 1 times a negative 3, a negative times a negative would make that a positive. So negative 1 times negative 3 would make this a positive 3. Now, for this one, negative 4 squared. What's going to happen is that we're looking at this as 4 squared with a negative attached to it. So it's going to be 4 squared is going to be 16, but we're going to bring the negative down. Now some of you might get confused because if I were to write it as negative 4 squared, then this would be very different. This would be negative 4 times negative 4, which would give me a positive 16. So there is a difference between a negative 4 squared and a parentheses negative 4 squared. So when we're looking at a number line, any number that is to the left of 0 is going to be less. It's going to be a lesser number. So if I were to write negative 100, negative 100 would be much less than negative 2. But when you go past the 0, any number past the 0 is going to be greater. It's going to be a greater number. So 100 is going to be a greater number than a positive 2. So with that understanding, let's plot these numbers according to its increasing order, starting from the lesser number to the greater number. So the least number is going to be negative 16 because it is the furthest to the left. So we're going to write negative 16. Next is going to be negative 12. Then it's going to be negative 10. And then it's going to be 3. Then 8. And then 9. But I want it to be written as so. So I'm going to rewrite all these numbers according to what they were originally. So starting from the least number to the greatest number is going to be negative 4 squared, absolute value of negative 12, negative 10, negative 3, 8, and the absolute value of 9. So this would be my final answer.